If you keep repeating the same thing and expect a different result, you're an idiot. Dude, make up your mind.
And you're telling me that your goal is not violence?
Period. Full stop. End of story. The Palestinian Authority, the PLO, was established for there to be no Israel. Hamas wants to kill not Israelis, Jews, not only in Israel. In fact, not only Jews, infidels, anyone who's not radical Islam deserves to die. Their existence, literally the existence of the PLO and the Palestinian Authority and Hamas and Islamic Jihad and the rest of them, their existence should not be here. Meaning, if there's no Israel, they have no right to exist. That is what they're here for. The very discussion about coexistence is absurd. It's naive and absurd. I think the fundamental problem that I think exists here in this war, but beyond, is that as Westerners, we have these core values that we were brought up with, and we believe to the depths of our soul. If I treat you with respect, you're going to treat me with respect. It's just like a basic rule of life. And so in the West, we know that so deeply and so fundamentally that we take those values and we copy paste them onto radical Islam. But radical Islam does not share those values with us. The concept of treat me well and I'll treat you well, that's not something they believe in. If you're an infidel, you could treat me as well as you want. I don't need to tell you how many peace activists were murdered on October 7th, right? All of those kibbutzim, they were as far left as it goes. They were the people trying to help the Palestinian cause. They dedicated their lives to it. So the whole concept of peace, it's a ridiculous thing. I don't know if it was Einstein or someone else said, if you keep repeating the same thing and expect a different result, you're an idiot, right? Yeah. I mean, the amount of times that we've offered them a state, forget us, the UN, when we got a state, they got a state, and they said no. So like, they don't want a state. They want dead Jews. They say it. It's time we believe them. And the list of ironic things about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is very, very long. But I think the most foundational one is the same people that are saying they don't really mean that they want to murder you. Come on, don't listen to them. Okay, they voted for Hamas, but they don't need to be held accountable for their actions. Come on, they're just a bunch of angry kids. Are the same people that saying let's give them a state because they're a nation. Like, dude, make up your mind. If they're a nation that deserves a state, then they are a nation to be held accountable for their actions. They elected Hamas. Period. Full stop. End of story. There's nothing else to talk about. If there are people that deserves a state, they need to be treated as a people. And we know what happens when a nation elects dictatorship, aka Nazi Germany. There's no discussion about how many innocent people are killed. You denazify Germany. And that means many innocent people lost their lives. But when you're eliminating evil, you need to eliminate evil. And it comes at a cost. And you know what? War sucks. And we didn't want this. It was brought upon, it was forced upon us. We need to stop with the victim card and the victim talk of like, no, let's make peace with. They don't want peace with us. They want us dead. That's it.
Well, I fully agree with you. I mean, even going back to prior, people keep talking about, oh, from the river to the sea, we're just talking about freedom for everyone. I'm like, but that literally comes from the PLO pre-occupation. Everything you claim you're fighting for the very call for the end of Israel. And just objectively speaking, you're holding up a map showing all of Israel as Palestine and then saying intifada after it. And you're telling me that your goal is not violence. You are literally calling for violence, showing me a map of erasing Israel while making a call, a chant that a government group who actively wanted to destroy Israel prior to any occupation was calling for. These people just don't know what they're doing. They're just completely lost in terms of their ability to think rationally anymore. It's so odd.
It's not about them not being able to think rationally. It's about them hating Jews and being blinded by their hatred. I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that in 1929, before there was a state of Israel, let alone any occupation, Arabs were massacring Jews in Hebron. That's a historical fact. What were they massacring us about? What were they fighting about? They were fighting about occupation that's going to come in 40 years? Like, come on already. The narratives are so ridiculous, and it's so obvious that otherwise intelligent and moral people, when it comes to Israel, it's like Steve Jobs had a reality distortion field. They have this Jew distortion field. And whenever it comes with anything to do with Jews or Israelis, logic is out the window. It's just pure hatred. It's unbelievable to see, as someone who grew up my whole life saying never again. And even as I said those words, I said to myself, I don't even know why you're even like saying this. It's so obvious. It can never happen again. And here we are. So we need to understand that Jew hatred is Jew hatred. It just takes on a new mask every generation.